are back. Indiana Hoosiers Live 45, Week 2 preview, Kennesaw State at Indiana. It's good to be back. The intro music kind of throws me off. It's funny when I downloaded the game post game, whatever quick talk or whatever initial reaction. For whatever reason, it didn't download with the intro video, so just me staring at the screen for 9 seconds, which was kind of funny.
Yeah,
but I do enjoy it. I like that the intro videos or the intro music is there, and yeah, it's good to be back, Brad. Week 1.
it's taking some time to get used to. I'm extra happy to be back because I missed an episode, so I'm
You missed an episode.
long overdue. Yeah, I know. I missed the recap. I was, God knows where. Honestly, who knows? Who cares? I'm safe. I'm healthy.
Yeah, who's
Doing
counting?
all right. I'm back. And yeah, I was happy to be back, and I think it was important. It wasn't really. I know you covered. Reaction. Should we just hop back into ODU, or are we throwing it out? Because I want to get my thoughts out, and then we'll throw it out, right?
Well, I do want to get your thoughts. I want to start here actually because episode 1, officially or unofficially, of Goom on the Go was dropped on game day. Biggest takeaway: you forgot to check your bag for Chick-fil-A sauce, Brad.
Yeah, I did. Thankfully, there were 10 Chick-fil-A sauces in the bag, so we were all good there. Big time.
Love that. But Goom on the Go, me and you have been talking behind the scenes about Goom on the Go for like maybe like 6 weeks, 7 weeks, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think? How'd you feel?
I mean, I like it. I do that stuff for like group chats. Like, don't really put them public, but I'll send them into a group chat every now and then. Yeah, I like doing the little POV, little minute-long videos. They're cool. I'll continue doing it going into Kennesaw State, depending on just where I'm at that day. I don't know. It's gonna be an early kickoff. Don't know if I'm gonna be necessarily on the go at that point at 11 a.m. But we'll see.
You have to go get breakfast. You'll be up and getting ready for the game, no doubt.
Oh yeah, no, I will have the game on my TV for sure. It will be on my TV. Maybe I'll go on a little coffee run and go. I won't make my own coffee. I'll go to the coffee shop and do it from there. How about that?
I think that's a good idea. All right, let's go quick hit. Let's get your thoughts from ODU because obviously I've talked enough about it. It wasn't pretty. It was a win. Sig said today that it's nice we've gotten to the point as a fan base where like winning isn't enough. What are your thoughts?
That's good. Yeah, that's a lot of Signetti's quotes hit it on the head in terms of what I'm thinking. He did a good job of kind of putting it back into focus in terms of where the fan base should be, which I think he did a really good job of. Obviously, it's not what we're expecting. We're expecting a cover. We went 11-1 against the spread last year. It was a great time. We all made, we all had a good time. Like regardless of money, if your team is covering at that rate, you're having a great football season, a magical season, if that. And we didn't get that week 1. We were expecting kind of an ass whooping and to open the season, and we didn't get it. Granted, all credit to Old Dominion. They're a very solid team. I think my message still stands. I think they're a legit Sun Belt contender, and they showed it on Saturday. And obviously, do not ever want to start the season giving up a 75-yard QB run touchdown. That is just the worst possible vibes you can start the season with. It really doesn't get any worse. On the flip side for ODU, can't start off the season any better than a 75-yard TD run. So they're coming off really good vibes for themselves, and I think that could propel them to a very good finish on their end. But enough of ODU, because I think a lot of this game comes down to Indiana and what Indiana was doing, not so much of what ODU. To kind of wrap things up, Colton Joseph really showed himself as a great athlete, like we knew. Couldn't necessarily throw the ball, but I'm sure he can do it at the Sun Belt level. And yeah, their linebackers really showed up in the sense where probably the biggest red flag, like that one play, like I'll draw that up to a fluke, like the first play of the game. Hosea Wheeler's still chasing the running back. He made a mistake and it resulted in a touchdown. That's what happened. We'll clean it up in film. That's a clean it up in film 101 type play for me. Not going to overreact to it. It's really about how this team bounces back, and they drove all the way down the field, and then they were stopped on 4th and goal. And I think that's something that happened a couple times during this game is when they were in the red zone, they weren't able to punch it into the end zone for 6. They had either missed opportunities, failed on downs, or, kick a field goal, which if you remember vividly watching this team last year, that was one of the strengths of this IU team was their ability to, once they get inside that 20-yard line, they're scoring a touchdown. That is a huge part of the identity of that team last year in 2024. And to not see that already in week 1, I think is probably the only red flag for me from this game is their inability to be able to just punch it in 2 yards out on an Old Dominion team because, we're going to see Iowa, we're going to see Illinois, we're going to see Penn State, we're going to see Oregon. That's just not going to cut it. It's just not going to.
I don't want to interrupt your train of thought here, but I do want to get your opinion on how much of it do you think was we're going super vanilla and the fact that ODU's got 3 outstanding linebackers with the ability to make plays versus
Or outstanding linebackers, actually, if you want to.
Yeah. Versus do you think Indiana's play call being as basic as it was a result of being stubborn, being protective of the playbook, or do you think there are bigger issues here where maybe I can't imagine the red zone offense not being as innovative as it was last year. That doesn't seem.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, I think there is, if we're gonna compare this to FIU last year, is very similar in the sense where the playbook was very vanilla and they weren't doing it the same vein where it's just you're at the 1, just push this, move them. It's not really about the play call or anything. That's more so what I'm seeing. I'm sure we're going to get really creative as the season goes on and just want to see. But with that, right, a big piece of it is Signetti mentioning, he thinks we left 35 points on the board, which would have given us a cover, obviously.
He said in another part of his press conference that it may have been even 55, which obviously feels like an exaggeration, but you execute 9-10 times and that's where those points come from.
Yeah, so it's that lack of execution that is concerning for me early on. But if we're going to flip it, if we're going to hit the rewind button, go back to FIU, very similar. I wouldn't say it was at this scale of the amount of times it happened. The Amari Cooper drop ball for a touchdown. We saw a few of those types of things where it's just oh man, not great vibes going on. And yeah, but on the flip side, to help out this team to back up 2025 Indiana, I think this ODU team's a lot better than FIU was last year. I think they have a real shot of going to a bowl game, maybe winning 8 games this year. They're solid, and they gave South Carolina, a team that went 9-3, a run for their money just last year. And I'd say this ODU team's a lot better than that last year's team. So so in that sense, it's a lot better for us to kind of go into it, just seeing it macro,
mm-hmm.
seeing it out there. But yeah, it's I'm not going to overreact, but there are obviously some red flags where it seemed like execution was the hallmark of the team last year. And we just didn't see it week 1. And that's similar to last year. But I think with that, I think a big part of that sentiment was okay, it's their first ever game with Signetti, as opposed to okay, it's year 2. Let's see that year 2 jump. So not seeing it right away, a little concerning, but I'm not hitting the panic button by any means. It's not even dusted off yet. I put it back in the closet after basketball season. I hit it and then I throw it back in the closet, collects dust. Haven't even looked at it, to be honest. Don't even know where what box it's in.
Well, I was gonna say, me and you were kind of having this discussion. We didn't fully get into it, and I am kind of curious what the viewers think, what the people at home think. I came away from this performance obviously disappointed, but feeling like it was a much more dominant performance than the game versus FIU last year. Now I know maybe the score doesn't reflect that, but if you were going to power rank the two of them, I guess, what are your thoughts on that?
I like what you're saying in the sense that yeah, we rushed for 300 yards. Our running backs looked fantastic despite, not being able to punch it in 2 yards out. I'm gonna leave that one be. But
and also,
run game looks solid.
I'll ask you real quick on the goal line stuff. Do you think if Lee Beebe doesn't fumble early that he's probably the guy getting the carries on the goal line? And do you think that even matters when it's, again, at the 1 against ODU?
It shouldn't matter, but yes, I do think Lee Beebe's going to end up getting a bulk of the red zone carries. throughout this year, and Kalen Black. I think Hemby's great in between the 20s. I think he's perfect for give him like 75% of those carries. And then, once we get close to the end zone, maybe because he's the home run hitter. So like once we get close to the end zone, he's tired, throwing Black, throwing BB. You got to deal with those two now with fresh legs. I kind of like that mentality. And, we did showcase the run game last year in the FIU game. And you could argue that the run game looked even more dominant this year as
I would
opposed to
argue
last
that.
year. So in that sense, like you could be right. Yeah, and the defense, they gave up some big plays, but pretty much non-existent. They did hear me. They got my 3 picks. Finally. Thank you. Thank you, team. I'm glad I know we can do it now, which is awesome to see. So we're able to force some turnovers. We're able to make some plays. And like I said, I think this is a better offense with a better quarterback than that FIU team. And, they showed out. They weren't able to do anything. I think we would have liked to see maybe a Mikhail Kamara 2-sack performance, but I don't think they're really letting Colton Joseph be susceptible to that, just with their play calling and what he's able to do, try to get him out of the pocket, get him running. They found that to be their recipe for success against our defense. And yeah, you could argue I wouldn't say it's more dominant than FIU just because I think ODU played a hell of a game and I think they look really good. So I'm going to give some credit to them, but it's probably not as far off as people probably want to make it seem.
Well, 100%. I think the nice thing for Indiana, if you want to wrap up the talking about ODU, is that they didn't play well. They didn't execute crisply, and they still ran the ball for 300 yards and largely dominated the game. And I never felt like they were going to lose at any point. So the fact that you have Signetti and the group able to go into this week of practice, basically being like, "You guys aren't shit. Like, figure it out this week." When in reality, it was really dominating performance. You take away those 2 running plays, ball bounces a different way. So I don't know. I thought it was fine. It wasn't obviously what we anticipated. It definitely wasn't what Indiana needed to gain public perception, but at the same time, that really doesn't matter now. So
yeah, it does not matter in August now, September 2nd. It does not matter at all what the perception is or anything. I think it's honestly probably if we're going to go moving forward beyond ODU, I'd rather get embarrassed now than in Iowa City or Bloomington Big Ten opener. I'd rather have that happen, get them a little
100%.
humble pot. There's this saying we had back on our football team was, when someone's playing really well and, and then maybe they have like a bad play, you get a little piece of humble pie, and you got to eat it. Right. And you just move forward from it and get back to work. It's really that's all it takes. And that's, I believe this team can get that done.
I
Just
agree.
based on what I've seen in the past. So,
And the accountability from everybody in the locker room was very apparent. Like Pat Coogan spoke to the media today, and they asked him about like how does it affect the locker room when somebody like Fernando Mendoza comes out and says it's all on me, and he said we'll have 11 guys saying that because everybody feels that way, and that's what you need from a team.
Mm-hmm. No, in terms of a locker room, I'm not worried about this locker room because I know what they're composed of. They're composed of tons of great leadership. If it was like last year or even next year, I'm gonna like skip ahead a little bit. Like I'll be more nervous if stuff like this happens. But with this particular team, with how much Signetti guys and how much like veteran leadership they just have on it, with the star power to back up the veteran leadership as well, it only bodes well for them to just be able to bounce back and beat the piss out of Kennesaw State this weekend, take their anger out on someone.
You want to do helmet stickers?
Yeah. We'll give out Roman Hemby helmet sticker. I thought he looked like our best player right from the jump. Best player of the game, that's my offensive helmet sticker, but I think he was the game MVP. I think if you gave him, the rest of the carries, he would have gotten up, 250, 300. Who knows what he would have been able to do. They just kept feeding him. And he looked fantastic. And that's, like I said, there were some clear red flags, but there was some really good stuff that we saw. And a lot of it coming from some of the bigger question marks that we were facing going into the year, like running back. What's that? How is that going to look with Ellison and, Lawton gone? Because we kind of have different types of backs back there now. And Hemby looked to be the all around great player. And then I'm going to give my other helmet sticker. I know Pons was named Defensive Player of the Week. I'm going to give it to Louis Moore. He's been having a lot of distractions going on recently, and he was able to not only lead the team in tackles, which isn't a great sign if your safety's leading the team in tackles. Anyways, but he was also able to make a play in the past game. Got one of my 3 picks that I asked for, and he was able to make a play for me. Had a nice little skip jump on his run back. Looked very athletic. Looked like he could maybe play some offense himself if he wanted to. And Louis Moore, number 7. I'm giving him a helmet sticker just for getting through all the adversity. And I would have liked him to make that open field tackle against Colton Joseph, but I know Colton Joseph burns. So, he's got 20 yards on each side. He's got Louis Moore. There's not much for Louis to do there.
No, he was.
He's getting my other helmet sticker. I'm going to give one to Johnny Brady because I was talking about punt returner all offseason. I thought I was going to go to Mekhi Jackson. Turns out I was so wrong. It's going to be Johnny Brady. He's going to catch every punt return. That changed the game because we're coming off a 4th down goal line stand. Old Dominion has all the momentum in this game. They punt the ball. He lets it trickle a little bit. He takes the ball. He just runs around them for a touchdown. Talk about demoralized. That's more demoralizing than the 75-yard touchdown run they gave up. So, a guy literally just running a circle around you is pretty demoralizing. What happened there?
You kind of jump froze.
Yeah, that was weird. I think we're back, though.
No,
We're still
back.
here, chat. Tell me if we're good. But, those are my 3 helmet stickers.
I actually full-blown agree. I didn't think you were going to throw Jonathan Brady in there, so I was going to mention him, but I'll trail you perfectly with him being with Louis Moore. I thought both of them were phenomenal. I thought the defensive secondary was great. I thought all 3 running backs were awesome. I'm tempted to give my helmet sticker to John Miller, but I'm actually going to do Bob Bostad because I thought his offensive line group was phenomenal. Like, they were so good. And honestly, you can give it to both of them.
You know how I feel about coaches' helmet stickers.
I know.
I'd rather you give it to John Miller because, for Bostad to get the helmet sticker for me, they got to punch in every freaking touchdown inside the 5 for me.
I don't know. You run for 300 yards, man. I wanted to give it to everybody on the offensive line. I thought it was like, well, we run for 300 yards. Like, I want to give Smith, Evans, Coogan, Lynch, and Benson their due. And so it's like, who's responsible for the whole unit? It's Coach Bostad. But it's like all the running backs are great.
Need
the
more
running
touchdowns.
backs are great. No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Check the chat here real quick. Colorado Kugel says we also rushed the ball for 300 yards. Yep, 300 plus, 309 to be exact. And honestly, it would have been the best week of the country, but Iowa ran for 310. So,
very good for them. And I like Armin. Good call out. Too much Nowakowski and only stays when we need him. Passing that too much to Nowakowski and only stays when we need to get scored told me in hindsight that there's no way it's competence, but a medium-term play by Sig likely was for the whole game. Not sure what he means by that, but
I think you have to look at his comment from before because I think he was saying that the offense was vanilla and that the plays were being called for the tight ends to be like conservative. Is I think that's what he's saying.
Okay, which makes sense because like I'm sitting there and we're losing the game, and it's like where's Elijah Surratt? Where's Omar Cooper? What's going on here? Get them the damn ball. What are we doing? I feel like Sandra Bullock in The Blind Side. Like, what are we doing? Throw the damn ball. I know she says run, but for this, it's like throw the damn ball.
Well, I will say in saying that maybe the ball went a little bit too much to Nowakowski. I thought he was phenomenal. There was a video, Jared Kelly, I think, posted it, of Nowakowski blocking the ODU guy like off the sideline and off the screen, which was awesome. And John saying who's in charge of the blocking schemes, Bostad or Shanahan. Bob Bostad is the run game coordinator, but I'm sure it's a group effort.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm gonna give another quick shout out. EJ Williams looks
to be he was phenomenal.
Favorite early.
He was phenomenal.
Keep an eye on him. It was
awesome.
So we were right about the 3-headed monster.
Yeah, we were. That felt great. Omar Cooper in the slot. How about that, Brad?
Yeah. He can play it.
I know he can play it. I was saying that all
He's not a true slot though. Get him outside.
Get him some slot.
Get him some fades. Get him. He's at his best when you're hitting him 20 to 30 yards down the field, and he's got to make a play.
He's got to jump over somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he's at his best. A straight line route and just throw it up to Coop, and he'll go get it. Not worried about these guys because they weren't doing that. They're running vanilla offense. They're still got the job done. 300 yards on the ground, very similar. I think it's just a Cignetti thing. He's just not going to blow you out week one. I don't think that's just not what he does. I think yeah, if we play maybe a Kentucky week 1, I think maybe we open up the playbook a little bit and you start seeing us firing a little bit.
Well, I don't know. Like,
I think it's nice because we don't go full speed that much compared to other programs. We don't go full speed as much. So going from that thumping to what do they call it? Thumping to tackling.
thud,
It's not
thud.
that's both ways, right? And I think you saw a little bit of that.
Yeah, I don't
need to
know.
get
I
used to
mean,
it.
Coop catches the touchdown. They punch the ball in from the 1 yard line, and they don't have to settle for a field goal. And all of a sudden, it's what is that? 48, 10, 14. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we're having a completely different conversation. So it's like the vanilla playbook, yeah, but also they left so much out there. It's like
Yeah.
they're kicking themselves watching the film. Like they have to be frustrated, and that's not a bad thing coming off of a double-digit win.
Yeah, and I'm trying to intentionally be as critical as possible because we spent the whole offseason kind of telling these kids how good they are. So I think it's refreshing to just kind of call out some things every now and then. Like I said, not hitting the panic button by any means. I think we're still looking good. Oregon looks a lot better than what I thought. So that game's going to be a lot tougher than what I previously thought going into the year. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see Dante Moore play a real opponent first. We'll see that. But yeah, throw Old Dominion. I'm like wrapping that up, throwing it behind me. Are you good on Old Dominion?
I'm good on Old Dominion.
I'm good on
I'm
ODO.
glad we got Hoosier football. I got a little bit of smoke to get into. We'll get into Kennesaw State, but yeah, I'm ready to put ODU on the back burner.
Cool. Yeah, and
Sweet,
no
let's do it.
more of these recaps on Tuesdays. That's going to be on
Sundays
when I wake up.
All right, let's get into the smoke. We got a win. We got a technical win before the season started. But last week we talked about Lewis Moore going into court on the 27th. He was battling for eligibility. They gave him like a 14-day waiver or whatever, so he's eligible to play the first 2 games. He's got another hearing on the 10th, so we'll be locked in on that 8 days from now. So was that Monday? Sunday? No, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'm bad at this. Next Wednesday. So there'll be another thing for Lewis Moore. And like as you said, he played phenomenally. Well, Bryson Bonds, Sig said today at his press conference, was ruled out for the season, so it's unfortunate. Send prayers to Bryson Bonds. But obviously that hurts the safety depth of Indiana a lot. If you lose somebody like Lewis Moore, that hurts the team incredibly as well. And obviously you watch the way he played this week. So we'll be eyes on September 10th like the Hawk.
Yeah, Bonds also a special teams ace, losing him for the year. Big impact on the team. Hopefully he can get a medical waiver for next year and we can have him back. That's kind of my hope for him. And
that would be ideal.
I wish him a fast and speedy recovery, and hopefully this isn't a career ender for him.
Yep. I know I said we're throwing ODU on the back burner, but 2 more things. They opened more tickets for the students, and the students responded in a huge way. Bought up a bunch of tickets, showed up early, packed the house. It was awesome. And then they dropped the bison from the sky. Brad, did you see the video? Did you catch any of that?
I didn't see it on the broadcast, but I did see it on my phone on my way because it was happening as I was making my Goom on the go. So I had to watch it after the fact. And yeah, pretty electric stuff. I had no idea. I thought he was just going to show up on the sideline, and here he is coming out.
So did I. Yeah, it dropped it.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Hoosier the Bison. No way.
And he looked great. I thought the Bison looked great.
Yeah, he looked cool.
Lee Corso had his final game day picks. He went perfect, including picking FSU to upset Alabama. Tom Castellanos backs up his talk from the preseason. But Corso going out undefeated, absolutely legendary. ESPN's FPI came out and the metric just looks broken, so we're just going to ignore that. Either there's not enough data or it's just complete trash, but toss that on the back burner for now.
I saw that graphic. There's just no way.
If you lose to a team you played, how are you ranked above? It doesn't make sense. I don't even want to get into it. It's brain breaking. It doesn't make any sense.
It's a predictive analytic, so it's just really just Vegas odds. So it's like it's not really going to change all that much throughout the year, no matter what the results are. Which is why it's a bad metric to use for measuring who should play in the playoff. But anyways, yeah, enough of that. I'm not going to get into a September playoff criteria argument right now. I'm just not going to do it.
The Don Fisher recaps are back. Obviously, they're electric every year. They always do a phenomenal job with that. I thought the Curtis Rourke opener was incredible, and obviously more people would be talking about that if the game went the way we wanted it to. But I thought both of those were phenomenal. The media team continues to crush it. Those guys are awesome. We're very blessed.
Love it. I want to comment on Armin's pick real quick. So he was apologizing for his thing I wasn't able to read. And yeah, we totally agree. I thought Mendoza looked all right. Anyways, we're done with old EU.
Post week 1, Indiana has a 7.4% chance to make the playoff, but they play 2 teams with greater than 50% chance to make the playoff. Obviously, these metrics are based on the predictive metrics we just spent a good 2 minutes saying don't pay attention to. So toss all of those out, but it is nice that there are, like we were saying going into the year, as much as people want to belittle Indiana's non-con, there's a lot of opportunity on the schedule for Indiana to make some serious statements and to play some real competition. And they're definitely in the mix.
Yeah, that number went down because I feel like it was at like 23 to start the year. So,
well, it did go down because they played ODU and all the metrics say like they didn't do well, and everything drops. Like ODU dropped in all the metrics. There's Indiana's schedule plus dropped, like all this stuff. But when if ODU is the team we think they are, and they play well as the year goes on, then that metric will bring them up. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's too early to look at that stuff.
100%. Jonathan Brady, we talked about him in the electric punt return. He was the 10th fastest player at top speed in the country last week. From Real Sports. Yeah. Real Sports does those like sports science-esque like videos with the graphics and tells you how fast the guy's running. It's very cool. Indiana ran for over 300 yards, I believe, for the first time since 2014. So it's been a while.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like the connection?
I thought it was the 4th most ever.
Is your connection okay, Brad?
Yeah, I'm seeing you fine.
I don't know if the audio is coming through on the stream weird or if it's just through my headphones.
I don't know. I don't know what to say. Could this be because you're on a hotspot right now? You're muted. You are muted.
No, you sound like a robot. Maybe try and like reset. Yeah, I don't know what was up with Brad's connection there. But I'm gonna take this time to shout out Jacob Savage. Jacob Savage is now the career leader in tackles for Ryle High School, the high school he plays at. Obviously, it's like week 2 or 3 of the high school season, so he's still got plenty to go. But just shout out to Jacob Savage. It's an incredible accomplishment. The graphic that here we go, Brad's back. The graphic that Indiana produced for him sitting on top of a mountaintop was dope. And just all 3 of the linebackers in the class of 2026 are just going crazy. Henry Olinger had an awesome game. Jaden Williams has been going nuts. I think like 2 weeks ago, he had like 17 tackles or something crazy like that. Like, no surprise that Brian Haynes is finding studs.
Do I still sound like a robot?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. Is it your mic? Maybe try unplugging your mic and just going through the computer.
Testing.
Oh, that sounds better.
Testing.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, just unplugged it, plugged it back in. What do you know?
What do you know? Did you see Jacob Savage is now the career leader in tackles for Ryle High School?
No, I didn't see that. I think my mic just broke is what happened.
You know what it is, Brad? It's probably the cord. That cord is so bad I had to get a new one. But your audio's coming in fine.
Yeah, because it's not recognizing the cord in my computer, so I'm literally doing computer audio with this fake mic.
Adapt and overcome, Brad.
Yeah. I guess we'll just go no mic today. And I'll just hold it. I'll just pretend that I'm talking into it like karaoke.
It's a good look. Abel says, my seats are section 2, a few rows up from the field before the game started as ODU was warming up. He said the ODU defensive linemen were huge, like as big as any of the Big Ten defensive linemen. Makes sense. Why we couldn't move the ball in the red zone then.
Sunbelt. Watch out for them. Watch out for those Monarchs.
Indiana dropped in both the AP poll and the coaches poll. They're still ranked. Who cares? None of these rankings matter. The only rankings that matter are the college football playoff rankings, and they come out, week 6? Something like that.
College football playoff? Those don't come out till November.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, those are literally the only rankings that matter. So
exactly.
It literally, I couldn't tell you where Indiana's ranked in either poll. Maybe 21 and 23. I think that might be correct.
That sounds right. It might be 22 and 23.
I don't know. I'm not going to apologize for wins. Indiana wins. You want to move them down? Fine. Literally none of this matters right now. It's all a big perception game. So
I don't care. I don't. All that matters. The Illinois game is the only game that's ever mattered. Whatever. They all matter, but in terms of these ranking perceptions, the Illinois game is the one where Indiana should be critiqued on.
Yeah, 100%. We got a Signetti coaching tree nugget this weekend. Miami defensive coordinator Corey Heatherman was co-defensive coordinators with Bryant Haynes from 2019 to 2021 on Sig's first JMU staff before he was hired to be the Rutgers linebackers coach.
And Rutgers got they be a good Ohio, the defending MAC champs. They got a big dub for the Big Ten this weekend. Scary, but got it done.
Navarro is a monster.
Yeah, he's able to put 31 on those guys. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I totally belittled that shout out, but yeah, he's good for them.
And then obviously we covered Bryson Bond, sending prayers to him. Byron Baldwin Jr., we got a little bit of an update. We don't know what it is, but he's day-to-day. So you'd like to assume he's probably playing this week, but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, Brad. Let's get into it. The Indiana Hoosiers play Kennesaw State this weekend. It is a noon kick, so it's bright and early for the folks that maybe were dying in the sun and using that as an excuse to leave at halftime. There is no excuse for that today or Saturday. I guess you can find an excuse anywhere. But what do you got for us, Brad? Kennesaw State.
11 a.m. over there.
What do you got for us?
All right, yeah, it's a game preview. We're taking on the Kennesaw State Owls from guess where? Kennesaw, Georgia. You guessed it. Boom. Yeah, we're playing them. It's going to be at Memorial Stadium. It's going to be on September 6th on FS1. So back-to-back national spots for the Hoosiers. Don't look now. Don't. They're saying it's a weak schedule, but yeah, we're on national television every weekend. Someone tell me Kennesaw State's an FS1 quality program. So, what am I supposed to say about this difficult schedule that we have? And yeah, that's going to go down. I think I didn't update the lines. I didn't do that.
Indiana's favored by 35.5, I think, or 36.5, one of those two.
Hold on. I'll get you an actual line. So it's going to be a 35.5 point spread with a 52.5 total. Yeah, Kennesaw State. Yeah, it's their first ever meeting against Kennesaw State. I don't even have to check that. I know for a fact because Kennesaw State started football in 2015, which is when I started. Huh. So I would have known if we played Kennesaw State at some point in that span. Yeah, they started back in. They're picked to finish last in Conference USA, so very different look than a Sun Belt contender to now a Conference USA, weaker conference, not really expected to do all that great. They did. And there's a reason for that, all right? They're coming in with a first-year head coach. His name is Jerry Mack, and they're replacing Brian Bohannon. So I alluded last week that Old Dominion actually gave their coach that brought them up to the ranks a few years to figure things out. One thing I don't like what Kennesaw State did is they had Brian Bohannon, who brought them to 4 playoffs in 5 years, 3 conference titles in that span as well. 2 years later, was able to make the jump up to the FBS level. Didn't have too great of success those last 2 years at the FCS level, but they were already planning on moving up. And yeah, it just didn't go very well, like 2-10. And to kind of rip the reins from him mid-year kind of rubs me the wrong way. At least give him the year is kind of how I go about a guy like that. You know, there's got to be respect in this game, right? There's got, I mean, you know, brought Kennesaw State to the FBS. Kennesaw State is now competing for CFP playoffs now. Like that is what he is able to accomplish, and they're now just throwing him to the curb. Come in, bring in Jerry Mack, no pressure, but you know he's coming in to fill some big shoes. Great opening weekend for the guy, by the way. You know, RIP Brian Bohannon. Here comes Jerry Mack. They almost knock an ACC school on the road week 1. They lose that one 10-9 against Wake Forest last week. Obviously, people don't think Wake Forest is going to be very good, but it's still an ACC opponent for a team that is projected to be one of the worst teams in college football at this FBS level. One of the bottom 126 to 136 like teams in that range, and they were able to find them, which makes me see maybe they're a top 100 team. Maybe they're a little better than what people are expecting.
And well, I'll say this because Signetti had a lot of really nice things to say about their team from the film he watched. He was impressed with the way they tackled. He said they were very well coached, and he came away impressed with their film.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest shout outs that we gotta give is their starting quarterback, Dexter Williams.
Shout out to Dex.
If you're in college during my time in Indiana, Dexter Williams is folklore.
The greatest what if.
He's folklore over there. He really is. And he was really hyped coming out. This, dual threat, quarterback out of Georgia. He's coming into Indiana. And yeah, I got some good Dexter. Should I share my Dexter Williams? We're sharing our Dexter Williams stories.
You've shared it before.
Oh, I probably have. But yeah, I remember Dexter. When I first heard of Dexter Williams, I heard that he didn't know the playbook his freshman year in Indiana under Tom Allen. And that's why we had to play Jack Tuttle with a broken collarbone in the Outback Bowl and throw 18 bubble screens. That's what I remember Dexter Williams for. He later went on to upset Michigan State in one of our 9 wins in those last 3 years up until we got Signetti. And yeah, which was pretty, I think he went, I'm going to look up that box score. I should have prepared better.
Yeah, Brad was like, yeah, I remember when he beat Michigan State. And I was like, he beat Michigan State? I don't even remember that far back. It's all a fog before 2024.
It really is.
I remember Tom Allen handing out tickets at the Union in 2019. And then I remember being at that Outback Bowl game where they threw 18 bubble screens. And that's about it.
Insane. So, yeah, back in double OT win, 39-31 final. Dexter Williams came in relief and 86 rushing yards, 31 passing yards. Actually, he didn't come in relief. He started the game, went 2 for 7, 31 yards passing. And we put up 39 points in that.
Was that the game where Omar flipped upside down and landed on his head?
That was against Michigan, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, Dexter Williams. Absolute folklore. He's making a reunion to Bloomington. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of motivation going into this game. Wouldn't be surprised to see him raising little hell. Another dual threat quarterback we have to deal with, which seems to be a problem between Jack Lausch and Colton Joseph for whatever reason. So we'll see how that goes. With Dexter's probably going to be the best runner out of all 3. And yeah, it could pose some interesting challenges. However, like I said last week, I'm expecting an ass whooping. I'm expecting the boys to bounce back. Expecting it to look a lot like. Did we play Indiana State last year, week 2?
It was Western Illinois.
Western Illinois, right. Yeah, 77-3. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Most points in program history.
UCLA, then we got the Charlotte game after UCLA.
Yep.
Right. So I expect it to look a lot like that Charlotte game, if not a lot worse. Maybe even close to that Western Illinois result last year. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting to kind of the team just continue their trajectory in terms of how they go throughout their business, how they go throughout the year. I think they're acclimated to game speed now, so they're going to be, up and ready to go and fire off the ball really fast. right off the bat, as opposed to taking maybe a couple possessions like it did last week, a couple days ago. So, yeah, what are your keys to the game?
Oh, it's a nice little transition. Yeah, I thought. Well, you were teasing a famous alumni that I was going to be stunned went to
Oh
Kennesaw
my
State.
God,
So
I totally went over that. Ryan Seacrest.
what?
Yeah,
I
Kennesaw State. Who would have thought?
definitely would not have guessed that.
Yeah, insane. I was blown away when I saw that.
Where's his NIL dono?
I don't know. He's got to figure it out. Maybe he doesn't care about ball. That's Seacrest.
Big singing guy, Seacrest. All right, we got keys to success. Obviously, it's going to start here. First and foremost, the offense needs to execute. I need to see offensive execution. Like, is this really like the team from last year? Then we're going to see a significant jump in production and the way they look and the crispness of the offense from week 1 to week 2. Part of the thing we were talking about, like seeing the jump from year 1 to year 2, a lot of these guys, including the quarterback, including the center, the running back, like the guys touching the ball most of the time, are brand new to the system, playing their first game at Indiana under Kurt Signetti. So I'm expecting a rapid improvement from these guys, but I got to see it. If we start seeing red zone struggles in this game too, and we start seeing drop passes and like missed timing, and these issues get worse or look the same, then maybe I'm a little bit more concerned. But I'm expecting a significant uptick in offensive execution. But that's by far key number 1.
Yeah, I think the word of the week is progression. Because I think if you want to look at last season kind of abstractly, they really did progress week to week. Like, I think that team that played Michigan State was a lot better than that team that played UCLA, right? Even though the results
yeah.
the same, I think that UCLA team wasn't as good as they were in November. So the results kind of speak that way too, because they were about 30 points ahead of schedule from them at that point. They were probably still 30 points ahead of them later in that year. And then they're able to keep getting better and blow teams out even worse. You see the Nebraska, you see the winning Washington with a backup quarterback. You see what Michigan State, like they are progressively getting better as the year goes on and it accumulates to a big win against Michigan at home. So the problem is that they got Illinois in 3 weeks. So we're going to need significant progression week to week. And I think that's going to be the key thing that we're going to look for, not just on offense, but both sides of the ball, all around, all facets.
100%. Leads me into key 2. Have to shore up the defensive line. Obviously, they were small little mistakes. You made the joke about Wheeler still chasing the running back. Like, we don't need to be seeing that show up on film over and over again. Kellen Wyatt, I thought, for most of the game, played unbelievably well. I think he was the one getting back who got the tip on the Pons pick, or at least affected that play. But he was also made the wrong read on the second long touchdown run. So I'm wondering, and I don't know if you had a chance to check out the snap counts, but it was a very tight rotation on the defensive line. So I'm wondering if we're going to see any changes to the lineup, if we see Daly rotate in even more and have a few more snaps, or if they're just like confident that those were just one-time issues and that they shored those issues up in film. So I'll be focused on the defensive line. Obviously, the biggest reason for those 2 long runs. So got to shore that up, especially against another mobile quarterback like Dexter Williams.
And that whole front 7, like, Dexter Williams is not a better thrower of the ball than Colton Joseph. So I think our DBs are going to show up regardless. I think that front 7 is going to be the key to this game. And just containing Dexter is really what the name of the game is going to be. Make him throw. Make him throw the ball. Make him beat you in the air. Make that the way they beat you, which they won't. But like make that the game plan. Don't let Dexter Williams go wild and get 150 rushing yards and maybe like 3 TDs. Like don't let it get weird. And just shore it up. I didn't have as great of analysis for this game, mostly due to the fact, like I'll call it some players for them. They have a right tackle, Milovich. He's going to be, a guy that's probably going to see Kamara a couple times. Millen Jones, one of their safeties, is going to be also a guy you should watch out for. I'd say he's their best defensive player. He's definitely a guy that can make a lot of plays. He's been there for a while. He's going to it's hard for me to say they're going to cause problems, right? Because I really like Old Dominion's better than this team that we're playing this week. So it's like it better look like that is kind of how I'm seeing it. Or else I'm going to be if we don't put up 50, I'm going to be worried.
I'm with you. is going to bring me to key number 3, and that's display depth. Obviously, Bryson Bonds, we covered again out for the season, which sucks not only on special teams, but also he was the backup safety. I don't remember which safety spot he was backing up, but one of them, or Rover, or, he's an experienced guy who's had played a ton of football and is a part of this Curt Cignetti defense and special teams for the last couple of years. But I want to see some guys play. Like, let's put some points on the board. Like, I want to see some of these young guys we've been hearing about. Like, the only people we saw in the secondary were the starters, right? I'd like to see maybe a Jalen Hollywood Bell get in there, maybe a Seonta Stewart or a Zachary Smith or a Garrett Reese. Garrett Reese was on the practice squad MVP this week. Matt Marek was another one, practice squad MVP. Like maybe some of the young guys in the offensive line. Do we see the 2 deep? Do we see Charlie Becker got a couple snaps? LeBron Bond had a couple plays run for him. Do we see Miles Kendrick? Do we see Davion Chandler? Those are the kind of the things I'm looking for, because Curt Cignetti's highlighted that this team may not have the depth that they'd like at certain positions. The best way to see what you got is for those guys to play. So I'd like to see some points early, and let's see some of those guys on the field.
100%. I think that's always the goal when you have these games, and it's a little disappointing that we weren't able to get it, because I think we wanted to have these 3 games to kind of just see that depth for next year, see what that could look like, and then lock in on the Big Ten schedule. But we still got 2 more opportunities for that to happen. We're not going to hit the panic button. And, yeah, we got a big one against Kennesaw State in a real bounce-back spot, not in a sense where we, obviously we're going to shoot for a dub and win a dub, but I think we need to make it look pretty, make it look
absolutely
as it should be. I know this team's coming off a 1-point win. They get an extra day rest on us too. So it's like they might hang tough with us for a little bit, just because Wake Forest, they just did it with another Power 4 school just last week. I know I'm not comparing us to Wake Forest or anything, but I think we'll beat them by more than 1 point, right? But we got to make it look. We got to make it look good.
Well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'll go to key 4, and that's special teams continuing to dominate. Brendan Franke was phenomenal on kickoff.
He was awesome.
I don't think a single one was returned. Keep doing that. Do that all year. Radicic didn't miss a beat. Obviously, he didn't kick the long field goal. I think it was Quinn Warren who attempted the long field goal, if I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken there. But I thought special teams all around looked awesome. Obviously, we got the Brady punt return. We got I like the fact that Hemby and Beebe are the guys returning kicks too. I think running backs with the ball in their hands, setting up blocks, is something you want. So, and then the other injury note coming out of this week was McCarthy, the punter, was a little bit banged up. He was considered day-to-day. I'm not sure what the significance or the extent of the injury. It looked like he was kind of limping around on Saturday, or a little bit like walking gingerly, although I think he was still holding for Radicic on extra points and field goals. So definitely going to be keeping an eye on that, but just continued dominance from those guys, especially Franke.
Yeah, so Franke is the one that DJ Moore, by the way, Eric. Franke's the one who attempted the long field goal.
It was Franke?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, then that makes more sense, because Sig was saying that he hit from like 55, 56 in practice, and that they were kicking into the wind. He just hit the crossbar. Said he hadn't missed yet, but he only take like 4 or 5.
Dude, seeing that hit the front crossbar and just bounce straight up was just like when I was talking bad vibes, like come on, man. Come on. Like, are you serious? The drop pass, and we're having long touchdown runs, having the ball hit off the front of the goalpost. It's just.
And they won by 2 touchdowns.
And they won by multiple scores, and they rushed for 300 yards. And yeah, I need to play a real opponent real soon to figure out what this team is, because I don't know. I don't know yet. But
well, I'll bring
staying hopeful.
I was going to say, I'll bring us back around for key 5, Brad, and that's make a statement, win by 20 plus. And it's got to be more than that. And the point being, perception is reality until reality is reality. To the point you just made, Indiana doesn't play a real opponent until week 4. So until then, everybody's looking at these games and just trying to imagine what these teams look like. And the better you make these games look, the better your public perception is. Now, again, these things don't matter. At the end of the day, it's all going to iron itself out. But like, it is annoying to like look at ESPN and they're flashing all the scores, and then for only the Indiana score, they put like whatever caveat, or like they haven't beaten the top X opponent, or just being completely negative for no reason. And it's just like, yeah, that stuff's annoying. And performances against like they had against ODU, while it still was a dominating, like at points, isn't going to do enough to quell the narrative. So go out there, obliterate this team because you're significantly better than they are, and make a statement.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. I think we're going to be all right this weekend, and I think we're going to blow them out. I think I'm feeling a cover for 30. Like we got to cover 35. Like we need to do that. That's point blank what needs to happen. And not even from my own bank account, really just from that perception point that you were just making, right? I think spread is a big indicator of that perception, right? Because it's based on those predictive analytics that everyone likes to lean onto. So when you defy them one way or another, that tells you actually what the reality is, at least in that moment. It gives you a clear picture. So to put the haters at bay, need to beat this team by 35 at least.
You have a score prediction?
Score prediction. 62-3. How about that?
I like that. I like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's 56-7.
56-7.
Yeah.
62-3 is such an egregious pick. Like if they go 42-3, I'll be happy. But if it's
although they didn't score, you know what? No, I can't do that.
If they score 50, they're allowed to give up a touchdown.
No, I think 56-0. I like 56-0. They couldn't score a touchdown against Wake Forest. What makes me think they could put it in the end zone against Indiana?
That's a great point. That's a fantastic point. Yeah. All right, I'll stand by 62-3 because I think the offense has a little chip on their shoulder now. I don't think they like that 27 number very much.
No, and I Hoosiers Connect,
especially
today,
when you consider 20 of those came from them. So it's actually the 20 number.
What was I going to say? Hoosiers Connect tweeted today that we're unleashing the Cuban Missile Crisis, or whatever they said, that the Cuban Missile is being unleashed this weekend. So I think that's a good sign. John says if we're as good as we think we are, 63 points minimum.
Yeah,
I agree. And he says we have the top 4 running backs on punt returns all day. Yeah, BB had an awesome block getting out in front and helping the Spring Brady. Yep. Any closing thoughts on Kennesaw State, Brad?
No. It's top 4 running backs on punt. We don't. Kick returns is what I think he means. But yeah, don't have any closing thoughts. I think I said everything that needs to be said. How about that?
Yeah, I just need to see. I want to see. My closing thought is just execute. It's literally that simple. They're the better football team. They have more talent. Go out there and put on a show. That's what these games are for. There's a reason why you schedule these types of games, and it's to make your teams look good. So take advantage of them, because very soon, the Kennesaw State is going to be Maryland, and Maryland's quarterback looked pretty frisky over the weekend. And I'm not saying I'm not picking Maryland to upset Indiana, but I'm just saying the level of competition is going to raise very quickly. And so take advantage of these games and give the fans a reason to be in the stands.
Yeah, I think it's not so much it's more so much the tune-up of it, not so much just to beat the piss out of them to make it look good. It's more so we beat the piss out of this team because we executed every single play perfectly. And we know we can do that. So it's really just that confidence that builds from beating a cupcake that's really going to translate for the future. And that's what we saw. I think the Western Illinois game was the greatest example of that. Beating a team 77-3. It's all right, who wants next? That's the mentality of the team the rest of the year, and it snowballs all the way to a playoff berth. So get 2 more opportunities to get a win like that against 2 teams that are susceptible to games like that. I think it's a great sign and just great opportunity for the ball club to bring it back, bounce back. That's what we need.
Bounce back from a 300 rushing yard.
Yeah, bounce back from from a multi-score win
against a team that's probably going to be pretty decent.
from a team that's probably going to win 8 games. But
and I know we spent like 10 minutes shitting on ESPN's FPI and all those metrics, but like if you look at those metrics, like ODU grades as a bottom of the barrel Big Ten team, so it's a fringe top 50 or whatever that ends up being, right? Like
really, okay.
Yeah, top 100 for sure, top 90. I don't know how many teams are in these conferences anymore, but
I'm sure ODU can beat Purdue.
they didn't look bad either. I don't know if I want to talk about that, but
yeah, we're not in the hypothetical business. So.
No. You want to run some of the games? Then we'll get out of here.
Yeah. Let's do a quick run. Let me pull up the scoreboard. Hold on.
Because there's obviously one big game that stands out, and that's Michigan and Oklahoma.
Oh, no, there's one first. Illinois at Duke. I want to call this one out.
Oh,
I remember during
B-Town Bucket Boy had an awesome tweet about this where it was like, somebody just keeps leaving delicious pieces of cheese around the house with a piece of cheese and a mouse trap.
Oh, man. That is trappy as hell because everyone's been talking about Illinois, Indiana since like March. So for that game to come up in between then, where they got to deal with Darian Mensah and Cooper Barkay on that Duke offense, a Duke team that is probably just from their own in-house perspective, they're a lot like Indiana, where it's a sense like, yeah, we're here to win 10 games this year. We're competing.
Good, dude.
They won 9 games.
Buffington Prime has been beating the drum for them just as much as he's been for Indiana.
They've won 9 games last year when they probably shouldn't have, and they got better this year because they paid a quarterback. They brought in some cool transfers. They brought a lot of that defense back. There's a lot to be excited if you're a Duke fan, and they get Illinois at home. Great opportunity for them to cause some chaos early in the this would be chaos. Like Clemson, LSU, Texas, Ohio State, that's one thing, but like Duke knocking off a top 11 opponent out of nowhere, that's chaos. That's where we could start seeing some chaos happen. So from an Indiana perspective, I'm rooting for Illinois because I want Illinois to be undefeated when we play them for our own sake, but definitely not, trappy as hell for Illinois going to Durham.
Yeah, and I think the line is Illinois -2.5, which is super, super odd. But no, I'm with you. That Duke team is like very under the radar talented. They paid the quarterback a bunch of money. So what do you think they gave the rest of the team, right? So I'm with you. That's a very, very trappy line, and I'll be watching that one for sure because I think the best thing for Indiana would be for Illinois to squeak by that game or to maybe win by a touchdown but not look the best doing it and come out with false confidence. But at the end of the day, Illinois better be focused on Duke because they're a good team, a really good team.
100%. We're speed running, so enough on them. I'm trying to find as many Power 4 matchups as possible. Iowa at Iowa State is this weekend. One of my favorites, just like color match. I think they should wear red on black, like UCLA and USC wear red on blue. I think they should do red on black in that game, but they won't. Where's that one at? That one is 3.5 Iowa State because they're at home.
Yep.
Their names. Iowa State won that last year in Iowa, which shocked a lot of people. That game is always a coin flip, though, in my opinion. Always.
Would you, or if you're an Iowa fan, how concerned would you be about Gronowski?
I'm about 50-50 on Gronowski because we're playing Iowa State, and it's always a coin flip, like I just said. So I'm just 50-50. I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah, he might show up. He did put up 44 yards last week, though. That is really bad.
It's not good. It wasn't good. People were talking about Mendoza's day like it was bad. It's like, yeah, but I don't know.
Mendoza put up 200 yards.
That's what I'm saying. And he had another 60 and a touchdown. And he ran for a touchdown.
I don't know. What are you gonna do? I thought Mendoza looked fine. What are you gonna do? There were some throws I saw from Mendoza. I'm like, oh yeah, I see the whip. I see the whip.
Oh yeah, no, there was more than a couple plays where I'm like, if you're an NFL evaluator watching that game, even the throw to Cooper where he dropped it was picture perfect. Like that is beautiful tape.
Yeah,
he looked great.
Baylor,
Eric, yes, he's going to the league. He's going to be a first-round pick probably.
Baylor at SMU. SMU's -3.5. Baylor is coming off the loss. Tough tough sledding for Baylor here.
Jackson Arnold, 30 carries.
Yeah,
Who saw that coming?
Insane. He's a true. I'm trying to compare him. He's like Will Howard, but when he was at Kansas State, where they just run him.
Yeah.
No, it's Riley Leonard. What am I thinking?
Yeah, Riley Leonard, Duke Riley Leonard.
He's Riley Leonard. Yeah. SMU. Is he going to the league? Yes. Mendoza's going to the league this year or next year. Not sure. Baylor at SMU. Good old North. I don't know where Waco is. Good old Texas. Good old Southwest Conference rivalry here. Mustangs?
Yeah, I didn't like what I saw from Baylor, to be honest.
Mustangs? I think Auburn fans thought they were going to be good this year. They might just be good. They might be them.
They spent a bunch of money.
We're going to find out just how good Baylor is next week. That's for sure. That's for sure. We're gonna.
And SMU returned a lot of guys from that college football playoff team, including the quarterback.
God, just starting against Auburn and SMU, just in any year,
tough.
You're any team, like
it's tough.
Even if they're like 2 6-6, like it's 6-6 Auburn, 6-6 SMU, that's not easy.
No,
it's not fun. I don't want to deal with that. Oklahoma. So Oregon's playing OSU early in the year, and it's not Oregon State. They're playing Oklahoma State. They're coming to the
Did you see the talk between the coaches this week?
Yeah, I saw Gundy's doing his old thing again where he's complaining about not having any money, and because Gundy's not going to leave Oklahoma State. He's the all-time leading passer there. Why would he do that? And
well, I don't know. You're saying the same thing about Kenny Dillingham, but I saw him at plus 700 to take the Alabama job.
Yeah, you should hire those guys. Don't hire Cignetti. He can't cover Old Dominion, so you don't want Cignetti. And then see what I did there?
Yeah.
And then yeah, Oregon by a lot. Didn't Oklahoma State get offered in the Big 12 last year?
They were not good last year. And if you're complaining about money and you're saying you only spent $7 million and you're going against a roster that spent over 40,
I say if you're whining to the media on Tuesday
about how much money
your game on Saturday, about the team that you're playing on Saturday, I think you're not in a good spot at all.
No, probably not. Not exactly confidence.
I don't think that's a good example for your kids. Anyways, as in his players, because they're kids. People forget that they're just kids, right? They can get away with a non-cover against Old Dominion. They're just kids. Then we get an SEC opener. How about that? Ole Miss at Kentucky.
Banger. People like Kentucky. Kentucky was ranked number 25 on Mark Rogers' true top 25 he put out today.
What a league! Just two playoff contenders, Ole Miss and Kentucky, just getting after it.
Really.
It just means more in the SEC. Like this game is so meaningful in terms of the
Should
playoff.
Kentucky be ranked in the top 10? And here's why.
Because they play Tennessee this year. That's why. They play Tennessee, Bama, and LSU, so therefore they should be in the top 10. I don't know. Austin Simmons had a good little first game. He threw a couple picks, but 300 yards, that's not something to shy away from.
No,
and Dante Dowdle over at Kentucky, he put up almost a $130 in a touchdown the next game. So really, just one of those early slugging SEC battles that they're gonna have to get through. Kentucky at home. Kentucky beat Ole Miss last year on the road.
That would be really funny if they beat them twice. That would be so funny.
Man, it would be. It would be hilarious.
It would be very funny.
And South Florida at Florida. So, two of the champions, two of the big, people that came out. I guess Florida only beat Long Island. What am I talking about? But they looked really good doing it.
Lagway had a sub-30 QBR, I think.
That can't be right. That can't be right. He's on my fantasy team. Put up 55.
I'm just telling you what I saw. Unless it was Photoshopped. It could be Photoshopped. People are getting better. Somebody put out a tweet of Alabama guys doing TikToks in the locker room and was like, I can't believe this is what's happening on Monday after a loss. And it was from 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was a 30 QBR. He was 15 of 18 for 130-ish and a touchdown.
Well, all QBR is how much the quarterback affects whether or not you win the game.
Exactly, and they were playing Long Island. So
yeah, so you could have had me playing quarterback.
I could have been back there and driven a couple touchdown drives that day.
Dude, I could have handed it to the guys they got there and figured something out.
I could throw the ball to J. Mike Sertivant all day. I'll be fine. I'll be okay.
You know who to feed.
Yeah. And then Arizona State going to Mississippi State.
Yeah, I like Arizona State big.
That's but that could be a big opportunity for the SEC to kind of flex their muscles.
Our guy Sam West
in Starkville. That's going to get weird for those guys. The cowbells.
Well, they've been walking around. The ASU staff has been walking around practice with cowbells, just constant.
Yeah, and Levin and Tyson look legit. Kind of what I wanted to see from Mendoza and Surratt week 1, which was tough to see. But I like the Devils here. And then last one, Michigan at Oklahoma. So we went 1-0 against the SEC last week with our big dub, Ohio State over Texas.
I'm not calling that our win. I'm not.
Big Ten mode. We're in Big Ten mode. Big picture. Big Ten. Put your Big Ten hat on. Michigan goes to Oklahoma. What's going to be a huge game for that narrative. Probably the tiebreaker because I don't really see Wisconsin. Can Wisconsin beat Bama? It's a real question now.
It is a real question. Well, Miami might just be really good. Like that's the other thing is like people can be like, oh, Bama or not Miami. Sorry, Florida State. Yeah, the other Florida school. Florida State just might be really good.
I told you to look out for. Remember when I was going through the top 12? I was like, Florida State, they're going to be back this year. And I had Florida State money line, so war chant, baby, let's go. And then we'll sprinkle it. I was really more focused on the plus 13, but we took care of that handily. And then Oklahoma hosts Michigan. Just another big one. SEC Big Ten.
Big first test for Underwood.
He looked good.
He did look good. He looked really good. And Justice Hayes looked good too.
He looked good. And that was an FBS team. Like that's I know it's New Mexico, but that's an FBS school.
Yeah. I mean, I will say though, a little concerning for Michigan, they gave up 17 points.
They did lose 3 first-round picks. I'll include Will Johnson there. They lost Kenny Grant, Mason Graham, and Will Johnson. And there's no one left from that championship team left. So who's going to step up?
Offensive school now?
But then you got to flash back to Bama, the Bama Bowl game last year, where they had Milroe in an absolute blender with all the twos.
Yep. Yeah.
And that's what could likely happen. My boy,
17 points for New Mexico. I was about to say that was the next thing out of my mouth was that was not good for Jade Knott.
I'm benching.
I think that I want to say he was like the 3rd or 4th round pick in my fantasy league.
I'm benching. He's on drop watch. He's on drop watch.
Yeah, he is on drop watch. He's definitely on drop watch.
Yeah, but I got
that game will be awesome.
I got Justice Haynes too, but he went.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah,
I also have him.
Yeah. How? Are we in the? Oh
no, we're not in the same league.
Yeah, you never really sent me the info on that one.
Yeah, that was my bad. It was happening. It wasn't happening. It was happening. All of a sudden, it was.
Yeah, no, I can't deal with that. You gotta tell me if it's happening or not. You got to. That's like rule number 1.
Exciting slate. Any thoughts on Chapel Bill before we get out of here?
I was right.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to talk about that. So it should be a big weekend. Indiana versus Kennesaw State should be a big dub. Should bounce back in a meaningful way. And we'll be right back on Sunday to cover it all. Shout out to you guys for listening. We've got merch. Check it out. vocfb.com/shop. Check out the Indiana stuff. Follow us on YouTube. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Indiana at the Voice of College Football. Follow us on socials at Indiana VOCFB. You can follow me at Alec Keiser. Follow Brad at Bradley_Loomis8. Appreciate you guys for hanging out. We'll be back on Sunday morning with a live pre or post game, hopefully talking about Indiana's big win versus Kennesaw State.
Hopefully a fixed mic.
Appreciate you guys for listening. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Go Hoosiers.